Good evening, Manchester United fans. Welcome back to another episode. Nighttime. What do we call it, Kev? A nightcap of Dan United and Kev United. I hope you're all doing very, very well. We have got a lot to talk about tonight. We have been so positive about we're going to get new midfielders. It's brilliant. We're going to change the way Manchester United are. Let's just hang fire a second. We didn't anticipate a couple of things here. Now, before I get into it, I hope everyone is well. Kev, how are you doing? You well?
Yeah, sorry, I was putting the screen up and turning it down because it was on, and I'm just getting the screen here so I can see the comments. Yeah, very well. Yeah, I might have had 17, but no, I've had 2 points. I had 2 points in the boots, and then had to leave as we've just discussed for 3 gentlemen that weren't quite in this century, shall we say? But yeah, no, all good. Had a quick squiz through what your title of your stream was and everything. You know, you'd sent me a couple of texts saying this is what we're going to be doing. So yeah, had a good look through. Interesting couple of points. And what's happening to our midfield and what's happening to the midfield?
It's a great question. It's a great question. So look, let's look at the news. The news broke last night, and it was quite damning. Laurie Whitwell has done a little bit of I was misquoted. It wasn't right. So the news broke last night that when Alejandro Garnacho was told he no longer had a future at Manchester United, apparently Laurie Whitwell said that Amorim had spoken to Ugarte and said, "You're not the same midfielder that you were at Sporting." Now, This has been clarified a little bit today, and things get lost in translation. I'm happy to admit that. However, what I will say about this is it led me to a question. We've had a few conversations this week. There's been international football, so we've had to have a little think about what other things to talk about. And we've been discussing mainly the midfield for Manchester United. Great. We could get Wharton. We could get Anderson. We could get Baleba. We could get Stiller. We could get Bellingham. Boo. We didn't anticipate that. In thinking about all this, Manchester United, come the summer, could be without 4 midfielders. Bruno Fernandes, we are all at peace with the fact that he is probably going to leave at the end of the season. Kobbie Mainoo, we don't know if he's going to have a future at Manchester United due to just not getting minutes. He's not being played. The fans want him to play. He's not playing. Amorim doesn't seem to see it. Ugarte, regardless of whether this is true or not, has not featured much for Manchester United, and to put it bluntly, has been average at best. And Casemiro, good old granddad Casemiro, who is going to be 34 at the end of the season. Now, we talk about Manchester United needing that overhaul. We had it apparently this summer. But next summer, we are moving into an uncertain terminology that our midfield could not be there. Now, we let Eriksen go, which you spoke about off camera, which we'll discuss as well. But Kev and chat, I'll ask the question here. A, do you see a world where 4 of them go, the 4 of them? And B, do we actually have the money to replace 4 central midfielders when people are telling us that there are so many other positions that need replacing?
I do see 4 of them going, actually. I can see Mainoo going on loan. I think Bruno will go away. Casemiro is going to be...
Go away, Bruno.
Away now. He'll be gone. I think Casemiro, his time will be up. And Ugarte is not cutting it. So there's great arguments against all of them not being at the club anymore. And it is still surprising to hear that today. I mean, what I heard was that Ugarte was told by Amorim that he's not the player he was at Sporting. I mean, well, shocker. I mean, we didn't. I think we all knew that. I think we can all see that with our own eyes. And it was him and Garnacho that got the shouted at or got the main telling off at that point, months and months ago. By the way.
Yeah, after the Europa,
the rest of the team got an absolute pelters as well at the end of last season. It's not just going to be Ugarte and Garnacho. So again, it's what we believe here. But I can see all 4 of them gone. I can see all 4 of them gone. I've never really thought about it in those terms either.
This is the situation. So this is where I think Manchester United could potentially come unstuck a little bit here. And look, we're used to being unstuck. We've been unstuck for years, but without even thinking about it. And maybe this is why the links to all of these midfielders, not just two. You know, we've been very lucky in the summer when it's come to players that we're linked with. We're normally linked with two or maybe two for each position. With this, we've been linked with 4, 5 if you count Job, and there's another one we've been linked with tonight, but I'll go into that in a minute. Is this Manchester United going out there, putting the feelers out there and saying, do you know what, we need to replace a load of them? And does this further cement the fact that Manchester United potentially in January do go out there and get 2 midfielders? Like I said last night, and I said the night before that, United should go out there and get the one in January and get the other one in the summer. I didn't even contemplate the fact that we'd actually need 4. So is it a fact of Manchester United now? And with regards to January, we are seeing plenty of reports that Mainu could go. We are seeing plenty of reports that Xerxes could go. We are also seeing the reports that Barcelona look like they're happy to actually pay the money early for Rashford, which is a blessing because we know he gets inconsistent. We also know that if you go on the Belabor bid that was, some say it was, some say it wasn't, that there was 55 million there. I actually feel like Manchester United are going to be a lot more busier in January than we ever anticipated, because we all laughed as a football community. Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Newcastle, Everton. We all laughed at Liverpool last season when there was that squeaky bum time where Virgil van Dijk was out of contract, Salah was out of contract, Trent was out of contract, Konate's got a year. Everyone was saying they're going to be left without any players here, and that was the spine of their team. Well, Manchester United, whether they meant it to be this way, whether they want it to be this way, when we said that we didn't like the midfield, we didn't mean that we didn't want any of them. So where do we land with that? And I'll quickly go to the chat because I do like to say hello, and I have missed a few of them already, so I do apologise. So Ben, good to see you, mate. Evening, and as he said, make sure you hit all the likes and make sure you subscribe. Anthony, great to see you, mate. Or Dan and Kevin, they are both on Pinky and the Brain. Remember that show? Pinky and the Brain. Evening, Andy. Good to see you, my friend. And Ainge, good to see you. Hope you're well. What have we got here? I think Kev was lagging a bit. No, he wasn't. He was checking his volume, I think, is what he was doing. Hope he's paying you overtime, Kev. Honestly, people think I'm working you to the grind here. Get rid of them all and getting a new midfield that works in this system. Simples. Anthony, where's the money for that? We will unpack that in a minute. By the way, great to see Moxie back. I was worried about Moxie, but it turns out not put the reminders on. So good evening, Dan and Kev. Nice to see you both on live and back to a normal routine. Is it going to be 8 p.m. going forward? Yes, it is. And hello, OGs, mods, chat. Remember, like and subscribe. Now, I'll get through the rest of... In fact, let me say hello to Steve Owen, to Chappie. Good to see you. And, of course... Chappie. There we go. And Jarl is in the house. We were worried about you, Jarl. We didn't have a message 4 hours ago. If we get someone in January, we will not get any players we have been linked with. I love the pessimism as always, Jarl. I love it. So here's where we go with it. With the midfielders that we're talking about here, Kev, I asked you the question there, do we see all of them going? But how much money would Manchester United need to spend? And this goes to the chat as well. I'll get some polls going in a minute. But the question, make sure you answer this, is simple. How much money would Manchester United need to spend to replace 4 midfielders?
Well, we're not going to get. We'll get some money back from these players, but we're not going to go. It depends on what Bruno goes for, because we could get a stupid amount for Bruno, but. We're not going to get enough money back to buy another 4 midfielders. not are ready to go into the team anyway. Unless we've got some secret scout that's out there and has found 4 midfielders for 20 million or something, then yeah, maybe. But that ain't going to happen unless we've nicked some of Brighton scouts, maybe. But no, it's not going to happen. We're never going to find 4 midfielders. I still think we'll sign at least one in January, but I've thought that for a little while anyway, because that's the most obvious thing, as well as we'll see what happens when Martinez comes back, but we'll see how the defence shapes up. But the midfield desperately needs something. Remember, we've got Mount as well, and some people might not agree. He can play a deep lying midfield position, and we have got someone to then play. Obviously, we've got Cunha to play in that position there, the higher up. But is Mount then a bit wasted there in a deeper line role? Although he can do it. and he's been used there before by Chelsea. I think and England have used him in that position as well. So we ain't going to get enough back to go and replace the players. We might be able to replace. And again, as I'm saying it, I'm going, well, it depends what we're looking for in a midfielder. If we're looking for stars or if we're looking for people that are going to be just development players, then possibly two. But one big star is going to be all of them 4 players out the door, isn't it?
There's a name that's been mentioned today, just before I come on live, and I looked at it, I thought, oh, that's interesting. But whether or not it's one that's got any legs to it. So Graham Bailey has reported that Manchester United are impressed with James Garner and are open to re-signing him. Now, James Garner at Everton. What I will say about him, I know you got your head in your hands, but hear me out. Hear me out. The 4 midfielders that we're looking at signing, there's no way that Manchester United, even if we had a blank checkbook, even if the UAE come in and said, there you go, there's 500 million, go and get your midfielders. You wouldn't sign the 4 that we've spoke about. You wouldn't sign Anderson, Baleba, who else did we say? Wharton and Stiller. You wouldn't sign the 4 of them because they ain't going to play. Not all 4 of them are going to play. Now, I think there is logic to Manchester United going out there. I think what they should do is spend the top money on 2 of them, and that could be a Baleba, that could be a Wharton. And I think Manchester United need to be savvy in the 2 that they bring in. Now, the 2 they bring in, I don't think for one second Garner will come back. And I wanted to mention him because I wanted to talk about the type of player here. Manchester United could still go out there and spend decent money on backup midfielders. One of them could be one that's young, up and coming, is a player we can grow. Another one's an experienced one, Kev. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy when we do we need backup midfields. We've got backup midfielders. We've got Main who's sitting there. He's the backup midfielder, and we're going to let him go. And we're just going to buy someone that's similar to him, and potentially comes in, has 3 bad games, and then they sit on the. I mean, I know it's all grandma. If your grandma had balls again, sort of idea. But with Main who's sitting there, we've let Collier go out. That people were talking about him as well. He's out on loan as well. There's a midfield player. Garner, no, not for me. There's a reason why he plays for Everton, and no disrespect to Everton, I don't think we get any Everton fans in, but there's a reason he plays for Everton because he wasn't good enough at United. And all these young midfield, I mean, we've got the Fletcher boys still not at United. They're midfielders. They played in pre-season as well. There's some backup midfielders for us. I don't see where we're getting the money from. I just don't see where the money comes in from. It's going to be one midfielder, and in my opinion, it's going to be one midfielder in January at a big price, and then the rest is going to come in the summer. Unless Sir Jim is growing money on a money tree, or he pulls it out his arse from somewhere and always got an even bigger credit card, I just don't see where we're getting the money from.
Let me have a look at something. There's something that I didn't even think about this before I come live, mate. Let me just pull this up a second. Contracts expiring for central midfielders. Let's have a look. Position. Transfer market always does well here. Hang on. Let me just bring the midfielders in. Detailed position. We'll just go central mid. Right, let's have a look. End of contract, 2026. I'll list some of the players. So, okay. We'll do this. So here's some of the midfielders that are out of contract at the end of the season. And when we talk about not having the money potentially to go out there and spend big on all of them, well, maybe Manchester United be savvy and utilise the expired contracts like we did with Eriksen. So some of the players that are on a free transfer in the summer, you've got Weston McKennie at Juventus, not really great. Goretzka at Bayern Munich, he's 30 though, but I mean, you talk about experience, he's 4 years young, he'll be 4 years younger than Casemiro at that point. You've got Milinkovic-Savic. Do you remember? I mean, we were linked with Milinkovic-Savic for years. Every summer we'd be linked with him. He's on a free. You've also got Quinton Timber from Feyenoord, which some of you may realise is Julian Timber's brother. There are people on there. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the list isn't exactly sexier than that. It drops quite quickly after that. But what I will say is there are midfielders out there that you could absolutely go, do you know what? Let's bring one of these in, and instead of having to spend the money on the transfer, instead of having to spend 30 million, bring one of these in on a free, and then we move forward. So there are ways around it, but my problem with this is, Kev, and again, you kind of touched on it there with when you said about these secret agents, secret scouts. Where are they? They're going to have to be busy. They're going to have to be, because we cannot go into next season unless we bring a couple in January. We can't go into next season with the worry that Mainu's not going to be there anymore. Casemiro goes on a free. Bruno, obviously, potentially off he goes for a big premium. And Ugarte. We can't do that. And it was discussed yesterday that there's a world where Casemiro stays for another year. We equally can't keep Casemiro for another year because these players are going. Because
unless he's happy to sit on the bench or be part of the mentoring team or whatever, I would keep him there, and reduce his wages. I would keep him at United because of the experience he's got. And just, he would be a good mentor to the players. He talks very well when you hear him in interviews. He does seem to. It seems to have enjoyed him again. Seems to have enjoyed his time at United, and played at two of the best clubs, arguably in the world. So I would like to see him stay, but not as our main midfielder.
You can't do it, can you? You're just
happy to sit and mentor the young midfielders coming through, even advise going to coaching and all the rest of it. Yeah, definitely. But we can't be relying on Casemiro and. I just, like I said, I just don't see I don't see where the money comes from. It doesn't account well unless we go and find these players. But Man United there's be a massive, huge proportion of the fans that don't want a 10 million signing because we found this guy. He's going to cost it. They want the 70, 80 million. That's what we want because that's what the headline will tell us that we need to get for our team.
That's been our problem, Kev. And I was going to swear then, but I'm not going to because we're only 17 minutes in. But that's been our.
There was lots of swearing last night, Dan. There was.
There was, but that has been the problem for a long time that we have got.
We're just expected to get these big names at big prices. We would be shunned almost if we went and found a Baleba at whatever Baleba cost Brighton. At the silly amount of £1 million, tiny little sum, and getting paid 12 grand or whatever it is. That we would just go. What everyone would just go. What are United doing?
Correct.
Correct.
Some of the comments I'll get through them because I don't want to miss them. So Andy says 200 million we'd need. Moxie says Amorim obviously just isn't interested in giving Manu a go anywhere in his midfield at the moment, which is baffling me, to be honest. Wasn't so long ago he was our long-term answer, and he still could be our long-term answer. But at the same time, Moxie, I have to agree. Our midfield at the moment is Bruno and Casemiro. Eat, sleep, recycle, repeat. That is.
And he hasn't looked good. He hasn't. The games he's played, he hasn't come on and we're gone. Players can come on for 20, 30 minutes and you go, man, he needs to start next. He needs to start the next game. And I just haven't thought that about him. For me, it was that he gave the goal away, whatever game that was. It was his poor pass into the front line on the edge of their box, Brentford, that then led to the goal down the third goal. So he hasn't been amazingly brilliant. It's not been good enough from him. So I don't know whether he needs some starts, but he's not going to start. So that's any way young players like that are going to get confidence is from starting matches. But he's not going to start ahead of the other two because, like you've said, I don't think, and Moxie says, I don't think, or other people have said as well, I don't think Amorim's got the confidence in him to start him. And he's seen something in training. He's obviously seen something in training that we don't get to see.
Yeah, but then what's he seeing training from Bruno?
I don't know, Dan. I don't know. That's why he's the manager and we're not. We're sitting here trying to analyse it, but he must see something. It's not just him either, is it? He's going to have his team around him that are. They're not going to be. I don't think he's got yes men around him. They'll probably tell him if he thinks he's talking rubbish, and he'll be accepting of somebody saying you're talking rubbish. Ruben.
Maybe they're terrified of telling him he's talking rubbish in case he threatens to quit again. Steve says we need $250 million unless it's bargain basement. Anthony says Rasmus and trashy money gets us a player. Bruno gets us another, and whatever we saved gets the third. Fair enough. Don't worry, Ben. I wasn't asking to re-sign him. Chill. Bruno says, Bruno. Moxie says Bruno will get 90 million, hopefully. Cassie is a free. Ugarte will be in 30 million. Maino, if he sells him, should be 50 to 60. But we can't let him go, FFS.
Yeah, no, we can't.
But the only reason we're going to let him go is because of the FFP.
I think it'll be a loan, if anything. I just don't think we'd be letting Maino go anywhere. I mean, we're talking about buying the midfield. We've got a midfielder there. We need to put him in the team more often. He needs to be in the team from the start and just have the confidence in him. Just Casemiro's your player that comes on for 20 minutes at the end. That's how it should be. Didn't Eric Ten Hag do that? Use Casemiro more as a player that came on towards the end rather than a starter.
It's just like a shit Netflix movie, mate. You know, the love story, the lovey-dovey love stories. You're just waiting for him to finally play Kobe Mainu for like 2 or 3 games in a row, and Kobe Mainu does incredible, you know, and we go, that's the Kobe that we know. And you can just picture him in training going up to Kobe and saying, "What? I didn't know you could do this." Mm-hmm. And Kobe says, "I was here in front of you all along." Just like those Netflix movies when they're like, "I was looking for the love of my life," and then the best friend comes and goes, "I was there all along, right in front of you." The answer, I feel, is in front of him. Just utilize him. And again, you know, I think I've done very well. I've stayed true to my word. I've not bashed Eric too much over the course of January, the international break, but he does exasperate me sometimes. Ben also says, concede him selling Mainu. To be honest, 50 million turns into 200 million with this PSR shite. Agree. And then Anthony says, we do have a handful of youngsters that can also fill some gaps. Lacey, ETC, and the new young signings for next year. Yeah, but he's not a midfielder, is he, Anthony? He's a winger. What else have we got? Why would Sir Jim put money in while the Glazers are selling the club? Well, this is another thing that we need to be careful of, because we've all sat here and discussed how we hope that someone comes in and buys us. Is Sir Jim even going to look at that and say, I ain't putting any money in if you're going to sell him? It's weird. Anthony says, looking at the free market, you'd be better extending what we have for a year. Ooh. In the words of Jamie Tart, that's poopy. I'm not sure I agree with that. Who are you extending? Right, who are you extending, Kev?
Well, the only person I would keep out of them is Mainu. That's the only person I would keep. So if we're talking about extending, that's the only person I would. If we're keeping one of the 4, Mainu would be the one. I would keep Casemiro, but I've told you the role I would keep him in. But that's not what he wants. He's not. He doesn't. I don't think he wants to sit. I don't know. Has he been sounded out for that sort of role at United? I don't know.
He'll retire
on the bench, bringing the youth, some of the youth through, giving them the knowledge and his experience like that, or does he just want to toddle off back to Spain when he's
Brazil, mate? Brazil. He'll finish in Brazil. I think. Dan, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you for a while. He says, good evening. Losing the will to live at work, mate. Don't get me started about work. If I speak about work tonight, I am in big trouble. But it's not been a good day for the D-Rizzle, I tell you. Good point, Andy. So Jim may say F it and not spend. Goretzka on a 2-year contract wouldn't be the worst move, and I don't think it would either. I think that'd be a great move. And Xerxes apparently is out the door. And this is, do you know what, Steve, again, with a great comment. Like, we're all talking about Xerxes going out the door. Who's coming in to replace him? Like, do you see what I mean? All these questions, all this positivity about, oh, well, we could be getting rid of this player. We could be getting rid of this player. I don't know where these players are coming in to replace them, Kevin. It's stressing me out.
There's Sir Jim not spending the money. So there might have already been an idea that, you see, as soon as that window slammed close, the one that's just done there, the transfer window, we knew we didn't get the midfielder, and that there was whatever talk it was, or we weren't going to go in for one, or there wasn't enough money, or whatever. Maybe there was a plan immediately as that window closed that we'll go in for one in January, and so there's money aside for that somewhere in Sir Jim's pocket, or in another 200 people getting laid off, or whatever it's going to be. But maybe the plan was there. Again, we're not going to be privy to all of this stuff that goes on, but maybe that's in the heads. We didn't get a midfielder, and Amorim went in and ripped Sir Jim's office part and said, you needed to get a midfielder. He said, don't worry, We'll go for one in January. The money's there, or we've budgeted it in, we've planned it in. We'll get one in January. So now the talk of the takeover, I think it could be irrelevant in terms of us getting a player in January, because that was always going to be the plan before any talks of the takeover sort of happened. Again, that might just be fantasy from me and just hoping for the best. But I still think we 100% need to get a midfielder in January. Definitely, I still think it will happen in January. I think we'll get.
I think two, mate. I genuinely think we need two.
Expensive and cheap. One expensive, one cheap.
I think so. I think it's the only way to do it now, because I don't want us rocking up on pre-season tour in America, which we will evidently go again. We always do, but then they're talking about Saudi potentially. I don't want us rocking up and playing, and to play like Diego Dallo and Mazraoui in midfield. We can't do that. We just can't.
Well, Mazraoui's back as well, as the little aside. Yeah, sounds like he'll be back for Liverpool. So.
Good. Chappie says they're so secret, no one knows who they are. Steve, do you really class Xerxes as a striker? I don't. And Joe, good to see you as always. Nice of you to drop in. Hope you're well. Exactly. We only have Sesko as an actual striker now. To be fair, Steve backs this up actually, and we've seen it this season where when it hasn't been Sesko playing, in fact, it wasn't Steve that said it. Who was it that said it? It was Anthony. If Sesko gets injured, Amorim would play Cunha or Mount ahead of Xerxes, and I think this is right. Maybe it is a case of he's saying, do you know what? I've got the backup. He ain't playing. Let him go. He wants to play for the World Cup in the World Cup. So I'm not sure. Andy then says the only way Manu gets in the team is if Bruno gets sent off or gets injured. Do you know this does sound stupid, but I'll say it because this is what this sort of show is. We talk silly sometimes. I think he'd much rather play with 10 than play Manu if Bruno got sent off and couldn't play in the next game or gets injured. I genuinely feel like he would rather play with 10 men. Something has gone on there, and it's bizarre. Anthony says, would you find someone being let go by a club that's better for us for a year than Casemiro or Bruno is what I mean? Yes, well, we've said it. Goretzka. I think Goretzka's better. Goretzka isn't better than Casemiro 5 years ago. Absolutely not. I think Goretzka now, I think at 30, I would take him over Casemiro. Casemiro is just, his legs have gone. His legs have gone. And what else have we got here? Dan says, work and my kids take too much of my time. Oh, honestly, work, my wife and my cats take too much of my time. He says, we'd only have Obi as backup when Xerxes goes, but Amorim could be going with the rotating 10s as a free up front.
Yeah, he's done it before. He's played it like that, hasn't he? When Sesko was there and he still played without him to begin with.
Bruh, I haven't seen you since Butlins. Actually, my stepbrother. We had a very good time away in Butlins, and I think he's probably recovering now. Hope you well, Nathan. Yes, I agree. I think it's disgusting what he's done there. Andy says Gallagher. I don't think we go for Gallagher. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see us going. Sorry,
Noel Gallagher.
Liam. The reason I don't think we go for Gallagher is simple. Atletico Madrid have been quite firm on the fact they've said they want money. And I don't think Manchester United see Conor Gallagher as a player that I think they'd take him on loan in a heartbeat. I do, and I don't like that, but I do think they'd say, yeah, we'll have him on loan. But I don't think Manchester United want to pay money for Conor Gallagher, is what I'm saying. And then also...
the last player we loaned? When did we last loan a player?
Was it Sabitzer?
Yeah, I mean, and how long? We generally don't loan players, do we? I can only think of a couple that we loan. We don't.
I can think of 3 stunners, mate. Sabitzer,
yeah, not recently though. They're not been recent, have they?
No. Regulon. People forget about Regulon. I forget he even played for us. We could also offer Ruben Neves a contract for next season in January. He's out of contract, so he's only 28 Prem experience. I think you've got something on that, haven't you, from when you were doing your research about Neves?
Yeah, it was another name that cropped up, and I don't see why. I've always liked him as well. I think he's a great. And the Prem experience is a thing. Like the players you talked about there, they're going to be on freeze. They're all just a risk. I mean, the more experienced ones maybe could adapt. Maybe could adapt, but I just think we should currently in our current state as a team, we should be looking at Premier League players that are playing in the Premier League at the moment. That's what we should be looking at, because other than that, it's just a risk. And we've got a player in the midfield that's going to go that we thought would fit in, and he doesn't. Ugarte doesn't fit in. He doesn't fit into the team. He's not playing the way he used to play. He's been told that apparently, and it's just a risk getting players. under 28, under 28 sort of age that are not playing in the Premier League, because I just that it's such a different league. It's such a different league. And next season, the level will go up again next season.
Will it though?
And all these teams lower down they'll get all their sneaky little scouting boys that they've got in that all the other big teams, and that's how the big teams get their players, is by going, oh, you see Bournemouth have got the player, I see Brighton got that player, and you see this team's got that player, and you see Sunderland have got that player. Let's go and have a little look at them. And that's where the teams in the Premier League with sense are looking at Premier League players, and that I think that's the way it should be. And I think more and more Premier League teams will be trying to pick off the best players from the Premier League teams, because they're going to fit straight into the Premier League and systems as well. That
system. Don't say the S word.
The system.
Don't mention the system. I think I mentioned it once. I think I got away with it. Yeah, no, I hear it, mate. I hear it. I think Neves, as you've said, and also as Moxie said, I think Neves would be a stunning signing. 28, still in international, plays all the time for Portugal.
What club is he at now? He's in
Saudi. Yeah, he's in Saudi, isn't he? But
I wanted him before he left Wolves. I wanted him when he was at Wolves.
We were linked.
He was going to come from Wolves to us.
We were linked, and he can play in that. He can play in that defensive role as a.
And I've watched him play a number of times. He's brilliant. He's a Rolls Royce of a player. For Wolves he was. He was a Rolls Royce of a player, and I loved watching him play when I went down there to watch.
I'd take him. I tell you what, let's do that as our first poll. Moxie, you've charmed me. Let me put that in. Hey, good office quote there. You got the job. Let's put it in. Would you take Never? Oh, I'm not even frigging typing there, mate. Would you take?
I'll pretend to type as well.
Ruben Neves. Is it loud when I do it? That hurt my ears, mate. Do you know something? That noise. Oh my God! I work in an office, and I work in the office. Far wrong, mate, with some of them. That noise, it goes through me, and you'd think you don't understand that.
Keyboard abuse. I used to do keyboard abuse every day. I used to going to leave that keyboard alone. What's that keyboard ever done to you?
Mrs. Robinson used to do it all the time. I'd ring her on a lunch break, and she'd be sat there, and I'd be like, "Oh, will you stop? Will you stop?" So the vote's in there, guys. Would you take Ruben Neves at Manchester United? Now you kind of swerved it a bit last night, because some of you were saying about keeping Casemiro. So let's see how that vote goes. What else have we got? Steve says, Dan, you hit the nail on the head yesterday. We hope Amorim's there till January or end of the year, but I think he's on a knife edge. Then new manager, change formation, and wished we hadn't sold some of the players. Well, I mean, you've seen, I don't know if you saw the reports today, Kev, about Peter Schmeichel coming out and saying that Rasmus Højlund could have been, a world beater if he'd have stayed. No chance. Rasmus had his time. Failed.
How do they know these things? How does Peter Schmeichel know that, by the way?
Well, there's only one reason he said it, mate. He's Danish.
No way he could know that at all.
Danish
man. The ball used to bounce off him like 30 yards when they played it up. It used to bounce right off him.
Xerxes is going to score far. Xerxes will score more goals this season in the Premier League than Højlund did in 2. I'm sure of that. And Nave says he'd take him all day.
I didn't want him to leave, but he was never going to be the main striker. He was a 10-20 minute at the end of the game. A bit of extra bulk to come on with the striker, not come on to replace the striker that we'd got on, to come on and back up the striker that was there, because he was a big lad and he could run pretty fast as well. But I mean, the ball used to bounce off him. He used to play it up to him. The ball used to bounce off him like 5 yards, and it was nicked off him straight away.
What annoys me is, and this
how many seasons would he have needed to be the world class?
Ex-pros, rival fans, right? This is what annoys me. This is, and not much annoys me, as you know, Kevin. I'm quite placid. But what annoys me is when they'll say, "No, Rasmus is over there scoring goals. It's the United curse. United are shite. He's over there." But these same people will sit there and tell you, "Oh, the Italian league's shite. Italian league's rubbish." United, the Premier League's the fastest pace. And I think, I'm nearly score again then.
Same as manipulating the stats. It's whatever fits the narrative and the story that they're pushing.
Of course it is. The next thing I wanted to discuss with you all, and I'm going to catch you blindsided with this a bit, Kev, but this is why we like to do it.
Yeah.
Have you seen about the salary cap that the Premier League are looking to try and vote about?
Nope.
So a controversial new salary cap, which some believe will destroy the Premier League, could become a reality as early as next month, with top flight clubs set to vote on anchoring, which limits the amount of money any side can make to a multiple amount of the bottom side in broadcasting revenue and prize money. So United and City are known to be opposed to the system, which would ruin which would run the top of the new squad cost ratio rules. So they basically think what if they were to implement this salary cap, which I think you see in American football, is if they did that, it would ruin the Premier League because the best players would not want to come and play because they wouldn't make the money. Now, salary caps, look, it's been around for a long time in other sports. I'm not against it. I am for it a little bit. I think it evens up the playing field a little bit for the top clubs and the smaller clubs. But I have to agree with United and City here and say I don't want to see that. I think as long as Manchester United are doing what they're doing now, which is they're putting their own cap on salaries, and they've said we are no longer going to be paying these ridiculous money to these players, then I think that can only be a good thing. But this salary cap, I just kind of feel like, imagine clubs like Newcastle and people like that who have just been taken over, who want to go out there and buy the best. And then this would just be another thing that would stop clubs like that from trying to push up to the top there. Now, you could argue, well, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if these players have, if the teams have a salary cap. The best players in the world, if they want to play for a club as big as Liverpool, as big as Arsenal, United, Newcastle, City, Man United, Chelsea, money shouldn't be a problem. But unfortunately, the caveat to that is, money is a big thing in football. These players do want to take the where the players want to take the big wages. So I've just sprung it on you, Kev, but what are your thoughts on a salary cap?
Maybe they would come. Maybe the big players still would come because they're not coming. They're coming for the league. The prestige of the league, the coverage that the league gets around the world. It's not just a wage from the club either, is it? There's all their sponsors, all their social media stuff they're going to be doing. That's where money comes for players as well. And if you're a Premier League player, then that's what comes with playing in the Premier League as well. So maybe, I'm only going to get a certain amount of £100,000 a week, but I've also got these 20 other contracts with all these other sponsorships and everything that's going to make that up. And the Premier League's not just made up of all the top players, by the way, because you've got players like, I keep saying, but players like Baleba, Casido that came in, they're not big name players. They didn't come in on a massive wages. They came on small wages. And once they're in the Premier League, then they know that they're only going to earn a certain amount of money. So, yeah, I suppose you can look at it in a negative way, but that's the opposite side of it, is players don't just make money from their wage. They make money from lots of other things as well.
Put it in your pension. That's what they should be doing. Put it in your pension. Put it on your mattress for a rainy day. Oh, by the way, good evening, Queen Sophie. Good. I didn't see you slipping there. Hope you are well. She comes in and says nothing will stop Newcastle getting there. Our revenues are already catching. We are 400 million plus now, fastest growing revenues in football history. You're doing well. You're doing well. The people behind you have certainly come in and tried to turn around your fortunes. Ben says you just get clubs paying in other ways. Same happened in rugby with players inheriting an overseas company as part of a signing on fee. There's ways around. Chelsea do that. Chelsea do it all the time. When they put the PSR in, they were the first ones to say, we'll sell a stadium. We'll sell a hotel, sorry. Then they sold the women's team, and it's like...
women's teams and all that kind of stuff.
Also, we've got Chappie saying, I think they should look at hiked up transfer fees rather than capping salaries. Look, yeah, of course. I mean, I think that I will be alive to see, and I think Kev will too. So I'm not killing you off yet, Kev. But I think we will see in the next 10, maybe 15 years, the first £1 billion player. I do.
Oof, billion.
Yeah, I do. We've seen nearly 250 with Neymar, and that was how many years ago? I think we can see it.
What did Neymar go for?
220, 225 or something like that. 225. Not £2.25, 225 million. They could. I think it will happen. It's the way football goes.
Was it Trevor Francis, first £1 million player? Was that him?
First million, Forest.
Like, what? I remember getting players being like 5 and 6 when you go, what, 5 or £6 million? What?
I remember when we signed Dwight York, and people went, "You've signed Dwight York for 12 million quid." I was like, "Yeah, I know." 12 million. Still okay. Well, I'll go with €1 billion. So I'll go with €1 billion. But I think we will see the first billion player. She says we've just signed a huge deal with Visa as well. That's after the revenues this year. Yeah, look, Newcastle are being run the right way now, aren't they? It's the way it goes. Also, Manchester United, I don't know if you've seen the news with this as well today, Kev. They are optimistic of striking a deal for land around Old Trafford that would pave the way for the new stadium. Yeah, United have offered Freightliner, who currently own part of the land, around 50 million, with the company seeking what they feel is an unrealistic 400 million. So they might be playing on the car park in this new stadium at the moment. The club feel that a compulsory purchase order could ultimately be made, with the government intervening to set a fair price. Now, that terrifies me. Because the last thing I want, we get so much thrown at us at the moment. Oh, United, first it was Fergie time, then it was overpaying for players, then it was signing players who haven't got a clue what they're doing. The next would be the government. They would absolutely clean house with us, wouldn't they? So what are your thoughts on them trying to get are you happy that it's going to be that we're not looking to move away from Old Trafford per se? Are you happy?
Yeah, I said it on Monday. As we get older, you have to accept a bit of change. And going off, topic a little bit, seeing the younger generation in your family picking up iPads and iPhones and being absolute whizzes at them in no time. So you need to accept that things change, and sometimes it is for the best. So I do like the idea. I did like the look of the new stadium, but I guarantee you change your mind. I would much see if we can have something that's close to that staying at Old Trafford. Then I would absolutely choose that. But we're not going to get rinsed. We don't want to get rinsed by anybody or taken as a laughing stock again in the meantime. So it's again a balance. It's a playoff. It's the pros and cons for which is going to be the best option for us.
Yeah.
And that the company that do the plans, the architects that did the plans for the stadium, I mean, they're not cheap just for these plans. That's cost quite a lot for these plans to get done for us. I mean,
you could pay for that. I could have asked you to run it up on ChatGPT, mate. I reckon for £5.
But you know what I mean? They're renowned for being expensive, and all they've done for us is told us what it can look like. So that's cost so much money. So there's got to be a higher level of commitment towards that, I think, to pay that amount of money to have all these plans drawn up. And I don't, the government would rent, I don't even like the sound of that. I don't even like to think about that, actually.
Neither do I. I mean, look, we're not going to turn it political, guys. I'm not going to.
No, that's what I was trying to avoid.
If someone gets in charge, I think it would be disaster. But moving swiftly on from political views there, 75% of your Lender poll there said you would take Ruben Neves. Good to see that. And then Ben also comes in and says, I work there. This is where the inside scoop's coming from, ladies and gentlemen. Ben's our correspondent from Freightliner. Ben also says will be a Saudi club buying a Newcastle player for $1 billion. That's one way to pump money in the club. And did you see that Indy Kyler guy posted that United representatives met with Elliot Anderson's agent? I did, Sophie. Did you see that they dropped a massive blunder and put hashtag NUFC? So they haven't done themselves any favour there, because people are already questioning if they're credible. Moxie says, I don't think we'll ever see transfer fees going that high, Dan, to be honest. There are only going to be more fiscal control measures coming in. In England, yes, I agree. In England. But when you've got, look, the Saudis were willing to pay 200
going out to the Premier League.
Yeah, of course. It'd be. I think we could. Are you still doing that circus tent thing? I think we are, by the looks of it. It's what that. Look, As Kev said, they spent a lot of money doing
that. Playing in it, Sophie. I'll go for the circus tent.
It's Butlins. It's going to be the Butlins Arena. You'll be able to go there and see. You'll be able to go there and see Heaven 17 perform. If any of you don't know who Heaven 17 is, then I'm very disappointed. Moxie says, "I don't mind the new stadium at all. It's just because it's different, and the fact is, Man United, that people are taking the piss outside of the outer net effect and three spires. It is a fantastic stadium. Yeah, but then Steve, I agree with Steve on this. Call me old-fashioned. All the history at Old Trafford, guys, I'll be so sorry if it's gone. I guess it'll be more for the future generations rather than us. When that stadium goes, Kev, I honestly feel like, the memories of the Busby Babes, the memories of the Champions League final, the treble season, the memories of Fergie, the memories of Dennis Law, backheeling and getting us relegated, all these memories that we have associated with this club. It's scary. It's scary.
That's the definition of that. All that's the definition of things change. That's exactly what you're always going to remember them, and then you just hope that gets passed on to the generations that will be around, that will have never known anything about Old Trafford. Old Trafford doesn't really make us any money other than that, does it? Other than us playing football there.
I know, but
is there concerts there and stuff like that? Is there any other events run there or anything like that? Is there any?
And that's what they're steering into, isn't it? That's what they're steering into. Yeah.
Modern stadium. That's not a modern stadiums are not like that. They're not just for football. They need to be doing more than that, because then as well as the stadium helps us to buy billion-pound players. That's what the stadium helps us to do in the future, doesn't it? So.
To buy back Nacho for $1 billion from Madrid.
Yeah, that's not just 90,000 people turning up every other Saturday and giving us their ticket prices and the season ticket prices. That's not enough these days to sustain Man United. It was in the past, because we used to take the piss out of all the other clubs and we got all the best players because it was the biggest stadium and the biggest crowd. But then all these other stadiums appeared where, there's 5 concerts going on in between, and there's this game getting played. They're changing it into rugby stadiums. The pitch moves out, and they can turn it into ice rinks and all this kind of stuff. That's just extra revenue that goes back into the club and helps us develop the playing staff and the managerial staff, the coaching staff, the equipment, the stuff that we use, and all that, like the new Carrington and all the rest of it. That's where all this money comes from, or would come from in the future. And so, as much as I would love to see Old Trafford stay, unless it's going to be around, unless it's going to be the same sort of idea of what the new stadium would bring us in terms of a financial income and not just from football, I think we just have to accept that the memories are just going to have to live with us. And if it dies with us, then it dies with us, and we make new memories in the new stadium, and we move forward like that.
Danielle said to me once, Mrs. Robinson said, "Oh, we can go watch Beyonce at Spurs." And I went, I hate Beyonce and I hate Spurs, so why would I want to do that? Look, as I said, I'm old-fashioned. And I don't like being moved forward with that sort of stuff. I would quite happily see them spend 500 million on regenerating Old Trafford, keeping it. But I understand that things move forward. And as Sophie said, and as the chappie said, in 50 years, players will be robots and we'll end up with CP3O and RPG.
Computer games.
It will be, Sophie says, we are the same. Thinking about leaving St. James's Park is going to hurt, but needs must. She then says, we don't have your rich trophy history, but it's going to hurt like a bitch leaving St. James's Park, and it will.
It's all relative. It's all relative. All the clubs that Spurs will have been gutted leaving. Arsenal were gutted leaving their ground. I mentioned Derby the other day. They were all gutted leaving because the history's there. But you've got the point where. We laugh about it as soon as we're watching a watch along and it's pissing it down. We go, there's someone's going to be getting so. We can't have people getting so. That's bonkers.
Fix the fucking roof.
Yeah, fix the roof, but it doesn't give us a better income, does it? Fixing the roof gives us a bigger income, and it doesn't put us up with the rest of the world clubs that have all got these magnificent stadiums. Ours has fallen behind now, and there's no. I've got no issue saying that Old Trafford has fallen behind these stadiums. And because we're playing so badly, nobody's afraid of coming to our Theatre of Dreams anymore to give us a game. it was the cauldron for people to come to because of the size of it and because of the way we played the game. Well, both of those things are gone now. They're gone. That is history as well.
I tell you what, though, I'm not looking forward to losing that record, though. We've never lost a game when we've been ahead at half time at Old Trafford. We've never lost a game. That goes. I don't want that to go. Ben says,
"Forward. We pay it forward. We just move it forward. We just move it forward." I'm with you. I'm with you for Old Trafford. I would love Old Trafford to be the future for us, but it can't just be for football. It can't.
I know,
because then we're just falling even further behind.
It hurts. It hurts. Ben says, I heard Old Trafford will stay and have the capacity reduced to how it was back in the 90s, all back down to safe stand size, will be used for women's and youth team games. Yeah, I haven't got a problem with that. And as Mox says, I agree about Old Trafford. They could surely have dropped the top tiers down with a new roof and make it the home ground for the women's team, thus retaining the club history like Everton have done. Warbzo goes straight in with, bring me the new stadium then. Let's be honest. Let us host NFL games so I don't always need to go to London. I can't stand the NFL. It's not that I can't stand it. Yeah. Here's why I don't. I mean, we're turning into a bloody different thing here, but I don't. If they didn't have all of the
old men, is what we're turning into.
I know we are turning into me, but I don't understand how it takes so long to do a game. I watched the Super Bowl for the first time ever a couple of years ago, and I sat there. I went, "What do you mean it's a halftime show? What are you on about? What?
Yeah, I've tried to watch it as well. I love the idea of it. I really like the idea of it. I think it's a massive spectacle. I've tried to understand the game. I've read stuff. I've done reaction videos on my channel, and I still can't get my head around it. But there you go, NFL games. How much money is in the NFL? I know it's not as much as the Premier League, but there's loads of money in that as well.
Yeah,
so it's the way forward. It's the future.
It's the future. Garlic bread. Steve says in 20 years' time, all it will be is pictures in a book. So sad. Cracking stadium. St James's is a cracking stadium. Magnificent solar stadiums. That's the Lego stadiums I was talking about. Have you got a picture of it?
I've got a picture of it here. Look.
I honestly thought you were going to show a picture of St James's. Then I was going to say, what the bloody hell is that all about? What year is that?
Take your last look at it.
What year is that?
Before some of the redevelopment, that was just as we'd started redeveloping, but just before some of the major redevelopment.
Yeah.
It's very old. That picture is very, very old. Like me.
I hope that happens, Ben. But when you look at the plans, all that area is going to be as housing and public areas leading up to stadium. Sophie says, if we could make the east stand the same size as the rest, could we? Wouldn't have to. Oh, we wouldn't have to leave it. I get it. Dan says NFL is rugby. I'm not going to say that. And Moxie says, okay, folks, that's it for me.
Make loads of money.
Yeah, not saying that. See you next time. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Moxie. Good to see you. Warb says, feels like it's turning into the NFL with salary caps and these refs announcing their decisions. Yep, I agree. How long will it be until we start having halftime shows? I can see it in the FA Cup coming. Either the FA Cup or the World Cup or the Champions League. Well, I can see that happening.
There's a watered down version of it already happening where they interview the managers at halftime. Managers never used to get interviewed. They'd have got two fingers up if they just said, just go to a quick interview at halftime. Get stuff. I'm going to go and talk to my team.
Imagine asking Brian Clough or Sir Alex Ferguson. Oh, can we just borrow you for a second? Piss off.
Even Arsene Wenger, even he was more modern, but he would have gone, no, thanks. I'm going in to see my team. Thanks very much.
Sophie says, I have zero interest in any other sport. To be honest, football is the one and only. I agree. Football's the one and only. And NFL is boring. There we go. I can say that one, Dan. More adverts than gameplay. And Ben says, before the quadrants, by the looks of it, early 2000s, the picture.
Yeah, it's before some of the major development, but some of the development had happened. I think that's why I got it. It was in between. Then we knew more development was going to happen, so I thought, let's get this picture before it changes too much.
And then Andy, just to finish off, says stadium won't happen while the Glazers are in charge. I agree with that. The Glazers won't want to spend, which again is why I think this 2027, us trying to sell the club, is definitely going to happen. But regardless of that, I think we've got through quite a lot of it tonight, Kev. So thank you very much for joining as always, my friend. Can you tell the lovely people where to find you and when?
There we are, Kev77. There's my little doodah there at the bottom. That's the channel name. I'm also on, if you like cars, by the way, cars and Gran Turismo 7, if you're into your
I
Gran
love
Turismo
cars.
7.
My favourite one was "Who's Gonna Drive You Home?"
Yeah, well, that's on the main channel, not on the driving channel. I do driving in real life as well in my car. You know, Dan's had a little tootle around in it, not driving it. I've tootled him about in it. I'm going to have a blast around the local area on that. That's on SDW 77. Shockingly, SD. That was my first channel that I did that I started, and I started on YouTube with SDW 77. So it's still going. It's nearly 1,000 subs. If you can help, if anyone wants to help that get up towards 1,000 subs, that would be good. But yeah, I still do videos on there as well. Gran Turismo 7 racing and in real life driving my car like a lunatic around the local area. But 77, I don't know. I think I'm only about 10 subs off 11k now, Dan. So it's pushed right in. It might be better than that now. I don't know. I've not looked of late. But yeah, 77 is the main channel.
Fantastic.
If you want, like I said, if you want to join in for the music journey, it is just a journey I'm on. I keep saying that, and I'm enjoying the journey. All these different rabbit holes, new bands, etc. New band today, Dan. You'll like the song. Broken Peach did a cover. It's a Halloween special. It's from 3 years ago. It's just had the 10 million views, by the way. That one, Tainted Love. With
my favorite,
Sweet Dreams in the middle of it. It's very good. It was
I love
a great video as well.
Have you ever heard Marilyn Manson's version of Tainted Love?
Yes, I think I've done a reaction to it potentially on the channel. Maybe
that's naughty. That song is. I love that song.
But yeah, 77. Find me there. Get stuck in if you like music.
Perfect, guys. Before I go, I do want to just say one thing. I wanted to leave this to the end because I didn't want to start it on a negative point, but I saw a video today from Terry Flowers. What does he do? Is he the Football Terrace? And he was very much saying that this YouTube world is getting quite saturated now. Everyone is doing the same thing, and you know. And to be fair, I agree with a few of his points, but he did say a point on there, and he referenced Mr. Goldbridge. Now, I'm all for these YouTubers with the great big followings coming out and having their say and saying, oh, you know, this is why we do things. The thing that I will say that I disagree with, and I want you all to remember this, any YouTuber, any person who supports Manchester United, Blackburn Rovers, Everton, you know, Shrewsbury Town, any club, if you want to get a channel started and you want to talk about your club, you do so. What I don't appreciate and I don't agree with is when he mentioned Mark Goldbridge. And Mark Goldbridge, I remember maybe a month or two ago coming out and saying, people are copying me, it's not right. You know, get your own ideas. There is no such thing as copying. There is no such thing as copying. What there is a thing is people like ourselves wanting to come and talk about the beautiful game. Come and talk on these channels and air our views. Some of our views may not be right. Some of our views will be wrong. Some things I say you may agree with. Other things you may disagree with. But one thing remains, and I keep saying this, and I will say it until I know I have no breath in my body. This is a community. Football is a community. This is the same. This is what we're trying to do on this channel. This is the same thing as being in the pub with your mates, having a chat about football, righting the wrongs, having your say. Don't ever let anybody with these fantastic, followings, ridiculously big followings, don't ever let any of them tell you that you are copying, that you are stealing an idea, because it is absolute, and I'm going to swear, bullshit.
I'll back that up. It is utter bollocks. That is. It is. If you're a United fan channel, of course you're going to be discussing the same thing as the big channel, because that's the discussion points. But where the conversations go could be entirely different. So, the copy and paste. It's not copy and paste. We're doing a channel about a club, and this is what's happening to the club at the moment. So that's all. Right. That's all just a lot of bollocks. I'm not a fan of that Terry guy. You know what I dislike about him, without getting into too much dissing people. Immediately as he starts his videos, hello everyone, like and subscribe. It's like, what do you mean like and you haven't done anything for me to like or subscribe to you yet. So I specifically haven't liked or I hate the way he does that. Before he's even said a word, he asks people to like and subscribe. That bit should come at the end of the videos, as it does in my videos. But that's just a nonsense, and I actually don't like some of the things he says either. No, so I agree with you on that.
Like I said,
people do what they want to do, and if it's a Newcastle, or if it's Liverpool, or it's Forest, of course the subjects are going to be the same. And how else can you make your videos look? We'll just face it out the window while we're talking, so it doesn't look like somebody else's channel. It's complete bollocks. I don't like the fact how some of these channels will get big, and they are big, and how they because they're big,
they feel that they can tell you as a fan that
what you need to do. Yeah, absolutely.
We have had so many people in here where they'll say a point and I'll go, oh, really? But I'm never going to sit here. You know, Ben and I have gone back and forth about Amorim. He's Amorim in. For the most time, I'm Amorim out. But for the, I do turn every now and then. But I'd never ever sit here and say you're an idiot, Ben, for saying that.
DJ Darkest Night just said he's come over from Goldbridge's channel there. Good to see you, DJ.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's great.
Your positive comment.
And this is it. This is what it's all about. Look, as I say, I don't do this as a full-time job. I work full-time.
Neither of us do on either of our channels.
We do this because we have a love of football, and we enjoy it. So let all of you please remember that if you want to start something, if you want to say something, you go and do it, and you never ever feel like you have to apologize for what you're doing. Ideas are not copied. In fact, instead of people's like these guys saying we're being copied, why not look there and say we're inspiring? There's a difference between copying and inspiring, and I think it's inspiring what they should do instead of saying what they do. But other than that, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Never like ending things.
Off your chest, son.
Yeah, never like ending things like that. But I didn't want to go without seeing it. Other than that, guys, Isaac, good to see you, mate. You've just come at the end, mate. It's a shame because I do like having a chat with you. And DJ Darkest Night, Dark US Night, I'm going to say Darkest Night. Thank you very much for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Nice. We will see you all. Well, I will see you at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Kev will be back on Friday. Friday, we will be doing the preview for the Liverpool game. So make sure. God. Yeah, we've mentioned the L word. Make sure that you are ready for that. Other than that, make sure you have a good evening. We are over the Liverpool week. Sorry?
You know where I am tomorrow?
The boot, mate. I don't even know.
No, not the boot. It's Thursday tomorrow.
The plough.
The plough. If you're in Telford, get yourself down to the plough. Let's do some singing. Karaoke night. Sorry to interrupt your ending.
I was on a right go there.
You're doing your debut on Saturday here, by the way, in this channel, in this studio. You need to pick. I thought you were going to do Renee and Renata.
I could do it.
I love my darlings.
I can do both, mate. I've got the vocal range. Anyway, we've done enough of that. We're out of here. Dan United, Kev United, Brian Brigade, Manchester United fans, football community. Uta!